This is it, the race everybody's been looking forward to for the last several months. This is the one the teams have been preparing ever since we left Homestead for this race. This is the start of the 2023 One-Up Superstar Series season. This is the Daytona 500. 60 laps await 42 drivers here today. One of them will have their career changed forever, and they will forever be remembered as a Daytona 500 champion. Alongside me in the booth to break it all down is a former Super Speedway winner in the One-Up Turbo Truck Series. It's James Ellison, who will be with us for the entire schedule for 2023. It's great to have you with us. This is going to be a very interesting race because we've seen already in the races past, these guys are not afraid to go 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide with each other in battling for the lead. We've seen which cars are strong through the dual races. Are we going to expect them to make their way to the front, or are we going to see some new challengers step up to the plate?
I think that in the early going, we are going to see everybody try their hardest to make their way up to the front, and as things go on, we'll find out who the true trying to think of a word I was using, the true stars of the day are going to be.
Yeah, this race takes your breath away for sure, and that's certainly true for all 42 drivers. This race was so hard to make. We had 11 drivers go home from the duels empty-handed that did not qualify, as we can now give you the starting lineup that was set via the dual races and through pole qualifying. Eric Monaco, a rookie, on pole for the Daytona 500, something we haven't seen in quite some time. Justin Hutchinson qualified second on 2 weeks ago. He lines up alongside Monaco, followed by J.Q. Halleck, Cale Tescar Jr., a pair of potent Toyotas in row 2, and then David Wells, another rookie, rounding out the top 5. We've got a lot of unfamiliar faces up at the front of the field, and some big names at the back looking to strike, including last year's winner Mark Davies back there. A lot can happen in 60 laps, though, so anything can happen here. It's just a matter of who's willing to go the extra mile to make it happen.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about some big names toward the back. I see like Daniel Bouchard, Stephen Gale, Jeffrey Finn guys toward the back, McDonald. Then you got some of the ones who were up near the front or in the fight during their respective duels. Echo Evans Ross, Igo Zhao. I'm pretty sure I just butchered that, but forgive me. There's so many different potential winners here that if they can avoid being in or causing a wreck, there's potential for any of these 42 drivers to come home with the trophy.
So with that being said, we have 42 drivers ready to pursue racing glory, and we are ready to bring you 60 laps of racing action from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. For the first time in 2023, this is the One-Up Superstar Series. The Daytona 500 is mere moments away, so strap in because this is going to be a race of epic proportions. Getting set for the most prestigious race of the Superstar season, Eric Monaco and Justin Hutchinson lead us to the green flag. It is in the air, and the Daytona 500 is underway. And Eric Monaco gets a great launch off the line with J.Q. Halleck directly behind. But it looks like the outside line's actually formed up a little bit better. Maybe Hutchinson can get the advantage going into turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like it, although Monaco seems to have a pretty stout car under him and has officially cleared Hutchinson with Halleck right behind. Early going, looks like Monaco's going to have an advantage.
And don't forget, it takes a while for these cars to get up to full speed. It might take them about a lap and a half or at minimum a full lap to get up to full racing speed. They barrel it off into turn 3 for the first time. It looks like the inside line's got a huge run of momentum. Monaco leads them off of turn 4 with Halleck and Wells now clear of the 10 as well. Maybe KJ Hayes in the 46 as well can clear the 10 of Hutchinson, but regardless, the inside line with a huge run, and Eric Monaco leads lap 1.
Oh, that was too easy. He did that without a problem, and like you were saying, it was single file up to Hayes. Now Halleck going for the lead here.
And unless my eyes are deceiving me, we've got some 4 wide back here. This could end badly.
Uh-oh.
Between Ben McDonald, Anderson Reed, Aaron Hall, and Lane Sanders in the 87. These cars have got to get reorganized down to at most 3 wide because anything more than that, you risk the chance of wrecking out, and you would hate to do that even just on lap 2 of the Daytona 500.
All that preparation, all that fighting to get into a race or to get a good position just to end up out early. Yeah, that's no bueno. So it's a good thing we're not seeing that just yet.
But here comes Jake McMillan on the inside to take the lead from Halleck, with a push from the two-time defending champion Christian Vargas, and right behind him, William Brock in the 93. He dominated his dual race, only to get shuffled out late. He's getting a push from his fellow Dodge, Patrick Smith, the defending Nitro National Series champion. They're all jostling for position in the early stages because you need that edge ahead of your competition. But McMillan's got the edge over everyone so far. He leads them off turn 4, and he should easily lead lap 3.
Yeah, that's no contest. Even as Vargas continues to look to figure out a way to get by, not only to clear Halleck, but also to get up to that 21, which seems to be pulling away a little bit here.
But remember, you don't want too big a gap, otherwise the pack will run you down in a big hurry. As William Brock gets to the inside of both the Revolution Racing Toyotas of Halleck and Vargas. Now it's McMillan still leading, with Brock now a second. Patrick Smith going to try and fight his way through to help his fellow Dodge. And there's Duke Ansack right behind him. He had to race his way in through his dual race. He keeps his record streak of Superstar Series starts intact. And he is on a mission to try and win this Daytona 500. First time out with his new team.
I was just getting ready to point out Anzac. He like I said, he is determined. He is focused. Excuse me. He wants this to go well. He would like to be able to go a few races in, be locked in like he's used to being, and then just go from there. But right now, he's got to deal with Brock and Smith there trying to go after McMillan in front of him.
Yeah, we saw this the entire time in William Brock's dual race. He was able to pull up on cars and make runs on them without any drafting help. They must have kept this car in pristine condition after that duel, unloaded it, ready to go for the green flag here today. And as they come off turn 4 to complete lap number 5, it is William Brock out in the lead of this race with Patrick Smith right behind, but Brock moves up to cover off McMillan. That could let Smith to the bottom.
Yeah, that's gonna be the game all day long. You're gonna have someone try to dominate, and then someone else is gonna move them out of the way, or the person trying to dominate is gonna block just at the wrong time and get overtaken real quickly, as we see right here. Patrick Smith to the lead.
I would not count out that 93 though. He is very strong on that high groove. He's pretty much the only car we've seen that can generate runs on the top and keep the lead. So you can see he's already back alongside the 04 of Smith. So William Brock doing a very good job of hanging on, but we'll see if as they come across the line who's going to lead this lap, because I think Patrick Smith's going to have the advantage through the tri-oval as it's the shorter way around. No, Brock's got the edge, and he leads lap number 6 from the top groove.
Yeah, but Patrick's got some really good help right back there. He's got Anzac and I see the 19 there of Autumn Koger. She's moving up to the front as well, bringing Jared Polanski with her.
Yeah, Autumn Koger was one of the few rookies in this season to be locked into the Daytona 500. She's looking to impress in her Superstar Series debut here for Finish Line Motorsports. But up at the front, it continues to be Patrick Smith and William Brock side by side for the lead, a pair of Dodge Challengers. This is what Dodge wanted to see. They wanted to lead the majority of this Daytona 500. They wanted to prove that they have what it takes to race up at the front, contend for wins, and go for championships. And I know it's very early to be thinking about the championship. We're only 8 laps into the first race. So far, Dodges are off to a very nice start.
That's definitely what they want. I mean, you and I both know how things went for them last year, so if they could start the season off with a Daytona 500 win, no matter which driver it is, I think they could they could go into the rest of the season with their heads held high.
But they gotta deal with each other first. Patrick Smith, he gets to run for 1 and 2, and to an extent through 3 and 4 as well. But William Brock just gets off the corner so much better, and he's able to hold the lead on the top of the racetrack. You'll see it as they come through the tri-oval once again. Brock continues to lead at the line by a very slim margin. So Patrick Smith's going to need a lot more help if he's going to clear the 93 and start to establish a lead of his own.
Yeah, but he needs to be careful that he's not too busy trying to side draft off of Brock that Koger gets by and bring it in Polanski as well. That bottom line, we've seen it before. Once they get to a certain point and get really racy, they can start shuffling and rotating it like almost like a big old conveyor belt that just loops around sometimes.
And don't forget that fourth car on the bottom. That is the beige number 01 of Mark Davey. He won the 500 last year, albeit with a different color scheme on that 01. And as a rookie last year, he won the 500. He's back for more here. He started deep in the field this year, but he's already made his way up into the top 10. That could be a challenger for the win in 50 laps time. But they're going to have to find a way around Patrick Smith and William Brock, who have established command of this race in the early stages.
Yeah, and now Koger's finally pushed Smith up ahead, and I think she's going to want to try to find her way to the lead and hope that Polanski doesn't have the same idea to get by her and the two Dodges up front.
And you see William Brock at the top of the racetrack. He doesn't have any solid help because McMillan and Anzac are just fighting with each other in the middle and the top groove. And despite that, Brock is still able to command the top groove and get a run off the corner. I think he just led that lap again. He did. So William Brock doing a sterling job keeping the lead. How long is this going to last, though?
Yeah, this is going to only last so long before someone finally finds a weakness in their double file barrier here and just finds a way to get by. But for now, two Dodges up at the front doing a very good job.
And I'm sure this is very frustrating for everyone behind these two, that they're having their own little personal battle up front, and they're hogging all the lead that everybody else wants to get. People like Jared Polanski and Duke Anzac, they love leading, and I'm sure they're very sick of having these two Dodges hamming it up at the lead, albeit they're fighting each other very hard for it. But regardless, if we need to see some shuffling happen to make this race a little more interesting, albeit it's a great battle between the 04 and the 93, as you see Mark Davey put Jared Polanski 3 wide.
You talk about shuffling. I was just noticing that myself. Davey's tired of waiting, and he's looking for an opportunity. He thinks maybe he can get to Koger there and do something, or maybe even get by her himself just to see if he can challenge. You said he won this race. He won the race last year, the season opener, and boy, would he love to continue that streak.
And remember, Autumn Koger is Mark Davey's teammate. They're both driving for Finish Line Motorsports, and Davey knows what it's like to win the 500 as a rookie. Maybe he can help Autumn Koger achieve the same feat this year. But they've both got to find their way around Patrick Smith, because William Brock is commanding this high groove all by himself. Fantastic effort from the Genesis engineering team to have a car strong enough to get William Brock out in the lead. We haven't seen this in quite some time on the super speedways, where one car, or in this case two, they're able to hold the lead for an extended period of time and no one's able to do anything about it.
Yeah, this is, like I was saying earlier, it was impressive then, it's still impressive now, but they've still got a long way to go. You got Koger and Davey there wanting to try to do something about it, but then you got to watch out, because right behind Davey, I see a couple of really good cars.
Yeah, that's Ben McDonnell in the 12, Miles Mashburn in the 72. Mashburn was the championship runner-up last year. Wouldn't he love to get his season started off with a Daytona 500 win? But we're only about a quarter of the way through this race. Anything can still happen. But it's William Brock and Patrick Smith that have turned this race into their own personal little speed show here at the World Center of Racing. We're about to take the quarter distance lap this time, and I don't see, barring any serious shuffling of the front field, how these guys are not going to continue doing this. This is a fantastic show of control from the 04 and the 93.
Yeah, this goes to show that they want to keep this between the two of them, and so far, with 14 laps in, they've definitely done that.
And I've noticed during all this, Patrick Smith has still yet to lead a lap, despite being on that front row with William Brock. Brock always gets the edge at the start-finish line. Smith gets the run down the back straightaway, but Brock always pulls back ahead when they get to the timing line. So I'm sure Patrick Smith's getting very frustrated. His spotter keeps telling him, you haven't led a lap yet. And you remember, for leading a lap in the Superstar Series and in any of the one-up racing series for that matter, you do get a bonus point, and that could pay huge dividends when we arrive back here in the fall to set the playoff grid.
And once again, Brock holds on. Patrick's got to be going, what do I got to do? And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be surprised if he's asking his spotter to go talk to the spotters of Koger and Davey to see if they can do something, but still early going. I don't think he's going to want to push too hard.
No, they paid a big points on lap 60, not lap 16. And as you see, McMillan and Polanski go a bit higher on the racetrack, trying to get a little bit of momentum going up there. But the first 5 rows are pretty much double file, and then you got a whole rack of 3 wide back there, with Andrew Langley in the red and white 42 bringing up the rear. This is a very interesting pack forming up here. Remember, these cars can go about half the race on fuel, and then they're going to have to top off and go to second half. So once that happens, I expect this pack will get split up in a big way. Then we'll find out who the main contenders are.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, because if the top 2 right now that are running a side by side right now have split strategies, and something happens with one or both of them somehow, it's going to become anybody's game. But every single pit crew, I think, is going to be on it when the time comes.
And we should expect that anywhere in the next 13 to 15 laps, these guys coming to pit road to top off the tank, maybe get some right side tires if you need them. I doubt we'll see anybody take 4 here unless a caution comes out, because that just takes so much time. And looking at the fastest lap point now, 2 drivers currently hold it. Aguo Zhao in the 56 and Zachary Fitzwater in the 59, both with a time of 46.081, which means they will both take a bonus point for the fastest lap unless someone else is able to take it from them before the end of the race. And unless that happens, those 2 will leave Daytona with an extra point in their pocket. Even with Zhao running in 41st place at the back of the pack, he's still clicking off fast laps back there.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating for him. Have that fast, be told he's got got tied for the fastest lap, and then then realizing where he is in the pack. I can understand how frustrating it would be, especially as a rookie.
Yeah, he's making his Superstar Series debut, the Chinese phenom Aguo Zhao, after a strong performance in the truck race 2 nights ago. He's looking to duplicate that success here in the 500, but of course there's still plenty of racing left to go. And here might be the moment Patrick Smith gets a nose out on William Brock. Of course, this has happened so many times before. Brock's just able to pull up alongside and keep going. And I think it's going to happen again. Although, we have 2 Venta Motorsports cars now in the top 5. Ben McDonald pushed Mark Davey up the racetrack to the middle groove. So now it's McDonald that pushes Autumn Koger in the bottom, trying to get around the 04.
Yeah, not much longer. Here comes Mashburn inside of McDonald. These guys are trying to figure out something. Some of them have figured that maybe shuffling out some of the ones who haven't been able to do anything is the way to go. And right now, I'm pretty sure Miles would love nothing more than to move that 19 out of the way and see if he can't take a crack at the 04 and the 93.
Yeah, you want to get the fast cars up at the front of the pack so they can try and wiggle their way past these 2 dominant Dodges at the front. I say dominant, but Patrick Smith still has yet to lead a lap today, despite being on the front row of this double wide the entire time. William Brock just always gets that advantage into the tri-oval, and as I'm sure he's going to get right here. But this is very interesting. Mashburn now gets pushed up to the middle by Daniel Voiles in the 08. Remember, he qualified very well in that 08 2 weeks ago on pole day. Now he's going to make a run at it. He's the one pushing Autumn Koger. And there's the 3rd Venta Motorsport car right behind the 08. That's Jonathan Lawson in the 16.
Yeah, this is definitely getting to be shuffling. It looks like we might finally have someone who is taking a peek inside of Koger here, and Brock's cleared the 04 now, so
Oh, this
uh,
this might be game over. If William Brock is now clear of Patrick Smith, he can go down to the bottom of the racetrack and just utterly command this field, as he just does. William Brock now pulls down in front of Patrick Smith. He'll take a lead. Now Jake McMillan's the one battling Patrick Smith for the second position. McMillan's also got a fast car. I just don't know if it's of the same caliber as that 93.
yeah, he's actually holding his own right there in the front with Coger not too far behind, but there's only so far you can go, usually, even with the strongest car on your own.
Yeah, and at this point in time, you just gotta wonder what their secret is at Genesis Engineering to get a car capable of running up front like this at Daytona without being shuffled out in the slightest way possible. But I'm sure they're keeping their secrets under wraps for now. Maybe they'll tell us once if he wins this race and that car no longer becomes usable to them.
Yeah, you talk about shuffled out. Coger just got shuffled out a little bit, although they're doing a lot of shuffling here behind the top 4.
Yeah, how about Anderson Reed in the 15? He's shown some impressive speed this week. He's now trying to push Jonathan Lawson towards the front, that black and yellow number 15. Now he ducks out below the 16 of Lawson. Anderson Reed trying to make a move into the top 5 in the 15 with a push from rookie Dylan Young in the 29.
Yeah, this is definitely something that Reed needs. We saw him have a good race toward the end of the season last year, and while he didn't get the win, it certainly was something he needed, but just wants to close that deal, and maybe this is the day if he can get by Brock.
But so far, no one's been able to get by Brock. I think Jake McMillan's going to try and take a stab at it, though. In the 21, he's going to get a push from Patrick Smith and Anderson Reed, but if Brock can back up to that 16 of Lawson and he can give the 93 a big shove, no, McMillan comes up to block the 93. So finally, William Brock has been dislodged from the top spot. He's led for at least 15 laps in a row now, but McMillan comes up to cover him off, and now it's McMillan battling Patrick Smith for the lead as they come off of 4.
It's been a little bit since we've seen someone not named William Brock lead a lap, but Patrick's still got to be a bit annoyed because he's still behind somebody, hasn't led a lap yet, and he wants that point.
Yeah, like I said, every point makes a difference, especially when we come back here later in the year to set the playoff field. Remember, Daytona is now the regular season finale for the Superstar Series. That is going to spice things up in a big way compared to last year. This is going to be a very interesting battle for the playoffs. It's very early to talk about the playoffs, but it's never too early to think big picture, and that's what Patrick Smith's trying to do.
Yeah, and gonna be hard to do. He's got 2 cars ahead of him now as they're starting to single file the top 4, maybe even top 5. You got them all right there in a line now, trying to just ride around, and it's working so far.
Yep, as they power their way into turn 1, I don't think William Brock wants to ride around anymore. He wants the lead back, and he's got to hope Patrick Smith's going to give him a push. No, he gets pushed up to the top. Anderson Reed now is the one pushing Brock down the back straightaway, and Brock is just a workhorse trying to get this lead back. He is powering down the back straightaway, but now Dylan Young makes it 3 wide for the 3rd spot. That lets McMillan keep the lead.
I was just about to say, don't look now. Here comes Young. And he's got Antek right behind him, too. So things are starting to shuffle around.
And amazingly, all 42 cars are still in this lead pack. None of them have lost touch. They're all on the lead lap. It's a beautiful sight to see 42 cars roaring along at Daytona, all in contention for winning the biggest race of them all, the Daytona 500. Oh, but we got a stack up. This is gonna be a big trouble for the second half of the field. It looks like Daniel Bouchard's off the pace in the 73.
Oh no, that is super unfortunate for all those cars right there. I was just getting ready to mention someone I noticed in the top 10, but this is higher priorities. That is not good for Bouchard.
Yeah, he's slowing to a stop. He might need a tow back to the pits. This could be the end of Daniel Bouchard's Daytona 500 right there. And look at all of these really good cars now with no shot at the lead. And this is it. These are the only cars left in the lead group now. It's been trimmed down by about half. And while we were going over Bouchard's troubles, Dylan Young now leads the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that's a big shame for all these guys. I mean, you got the defending champ in the midst of all that, and I mean, you got to feel for Bouchard. He was just riding around doing fine, and then I wonder what happened to cause that. Is we still got fighting for the lead.
Some sort of trouble on the 73. We'll take a look at it later on. But here's Jonathan Lawson and Dylan Young battling for the lead, a pair of rookies dicing it up for the lead of the Daytona 500. You raced Jonathan Lawson yesterday. You know what his driving style's like. He wants to win this 500 badly.
Yeah, like me, he's determined, and I'm definitely gotta say, he's determined now. Although Young looks like he's a little bit more determined to keep that lead, like Brock was doing earlier.
Yeah, this lead pack of about 15 cars now. That's all that's left. Because the rest of the field's been shoved back at least 5 to maybe even more than 10 seconds off these leaders because of Daniel Bouchard's troubles on the back straightaway. So, unless the pit stops shake things up in a big way and brings the field back together, these will be your cars deciding the winner of the Daytona 500.
Yeah, and don't look now. I was going to mention this earlier, but then Bouchard had his trouble, but well, he's not in the top 10 now, but Lane Sanders, he's starting to show himself just a little bit. He's kind of stuck on the inside line right now, but this inside line gets moving again, he might be up there fighting for the win.
And look at this. The third pack's 14 and a half seconds off the lead just from that one sidetrack from Bouchard. And the second pack's a full 6 seconds off the lead. That is not what these guys wanted to see. It's entirely unpredictable, that sort of thing. You can't see that coming. Even if you were to call the 73 in to black flag him, that would still require him to slow down, and that would still require the pack to be separated. There's just nothing you can do in that scenario.
Yeah, pretty much a lose-lose for the people who are now in that second pack. So all they've got to hope for now is that there's a caution that they're not involved in to catch them back up. As these guys up front, they're just enjoying the fact that they weren't caught up in that.
And now it's Dylan Young leading the Daytona 500. Wouldn't that be something if he were to pull this one out and win it? And here's Bouchard coming back on the track. Whatever issue they had, it looks like they've been able to fix it. He'll come back onto the track several laps off the pace, but we'll see. He might be able to return to full racing speed. We're not sure. But here comes the pack, the leader pack. We're halfway through this Daytona 500, and they are absolutely going to catch Daniel Bouchard once again, probably down the back straightaway.
I know he's not part of this lead pack, but everybody be ready to mute Zachary Fitzwater's scanner, because if Bouchard gets in his way, look out.
Oh, I'm sure. There's no race that goes by without that happening. But as they come down the back straightaway, you see Bouchard still getting up to speed. The leaders drive very quickly past the 73. They don't want him in their pack because they're not sure if he can keep up. Oh, but
oh, no.
Oh, and he's holding up even more cars behind him. That's Anderson Reed, Duke Ansack, Lane Sanders is back there. This is dreadful. Oh, and Brock's coming into the pits.
Oh. Is this a planned pit stop, or does he have the same problem as his teammate here?
I think that might be that he might be. We're in the window to make it to the end of the race, so this might be just a short pit option for the 93. Oh, and Nick Ortiz with trouble in the 91. We didn't even notice that in the early stages. It looks like Brock's just going to get some tires and fuel. This might be a scheduled stop for him, but for Nick Ortiz, this definitely wasn't planned.
Yeah, I'm sure some fans of both Bouchard and Brock were a little concerned when they saw Brock going into the pits, but all's well here, but except for the fact the field is definitely way scattered now from all that mess.
Yeah, this is definitely a bit concerning. We'll see if these guys can catch up. Here's Brock exiting the pits. He is good to go to the rest of the race without having to pit again. The problem is he's all by himself, and these leaders are still in a big pack, and these guys are in a big pack. We got green flag pit stops underway.
Yeah, you got a few of them back there, and these guys are just going to stay out. A lot of them are right now. It looks like they're going to wait just a little while longer, but you can only wait so long before it's absolutely necessary to pit unless you want to run out on the track.
We've seen that happen before this week. It never ends well when you run out of gas here at Daytona. But Jake McMillan now continues to lead this race ahead of Patrick Smith, but it looks like they're coming in now. Sam Denota is going to join them. Eric Monaco, Miles Mashburn, and Autumn Koger, they come into the pits, while Ben McDonald takes the lead at the 500 with a push from his teammate Lawson.
Yeah, and then here we see some of the others who came to the pit a lap before. They're just now starting to come out. And like you said...
Oh, that's going to be tight. That's going to be tight.
Oh. Yikes.
That is very tight with Hutchinson and Holloman in the 9 and 10. Those guys were on the very bottom groove trying to get up to speed, while these guys are roaring along at 190 trying to get their way through. And you can see William Brock directly ahead of the leaders. This could be interesting. If Brock can get back in touch with the leaders, he might still be in contention to win this thing, I'm not sure. But we have more cars coming into the pits. That's McDonald and Young leading the charge, and now Jonathan Lawson takes the lead.
Yeah, that's going to be good. He'll get that point for a lap led, but he's going to probably be among some of the last ones to pit. Just depends on how long he wants to go right now, as he's kind of stuck on the outside dealing with cars coming off pit road. Boy, this is getting interesting.
Plus Bouchard, he probably doesn't have to pit again, and it looks like he is back up to full speed in that 73. Whatever issue they had, they must have been able to fix it. So Bouchard is back up to full racing speed. We'll see. These are the only 5 cars yet to pit. Lawson, Reed, Anzac, Sanders, and Bobo Jones, and it looks like 3 of them are about to peel off to pit. That leaves Jonathan Lawson and Anderson Reed as the only cars yet to come down pit road on this cycle of pit stops. So these two are probably going to cycle out a little further back than they would have otherwise, but barring a yellow flag, they should be able to stay in contention for the win here if all goes well.
Yeah, you talk about barring a yellow flag. I keep wondering if we're going to get a yellow flag because of somebody coming off pit road and jumping up a little too soon into traffic. But so far, they've been holding their own real well, as we see Reed clear Polanski.
And while Daniel Bouchard was able to return to the track and continue on, the same cannot be said for Nick Ortiz. He will be the first retirement of the 2023 season. A tough break for the Finish Line Motorsports 91 team, as Lawson and Reed pit. It's a tough break for Nick Ortiz, but he'll be back at Auto Club Speedway next week to try and rebound.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like I said, next week there's Auto Club, and then still plenty of other races after that if things go wrong there. But you don't want to go back to back trouble on races with trouble. And moving on to more positive things, we're looking at the 21 and the 04 here. Things are looking really good again for them.
They will probably cycle out as the leaders once Reed and Lawson come out. So it looks like only 5 cars are going to be battling for the lead when this is all said and done. Anzac and Sanders are trying to work together to try and catch back up, but 2 cars are no match for 5, and they're definitely no match for the semi-huge pack behind them. I think Anzac and Sanders are sitting ducks at this point because they're not fast enough to catch these 5, but I don't know. If that pack behind those leaders gets big enough, maybe they can chase them back down in time.
We'll have to wait and see. As you see right there, the 16 and the 15 coming back on track. They're cycling in a good position, but not able to stay with the pack.
So it looks like it's going to, barring a yellow flag and barring the leaders getting caught up by lap traffic and barring the second pack catching back up, it's going to come down to 2 Chevrolets, a Ford, a Dodge, and a Toyota battling it out for victory in the Daytona 500. This is going to be an interesting one. We have 22 laps to go. Dylan Young holds the lead, but for how much longer? Because Patrick Smith is a very hungry driver behind him.
Yeah, you talk about hungry. Here he comes right now. He's got a little bit of help there from the 21, but I think that 29 is pretty strong as well.
All of these cars were running in the top 10 when the green flag pit stops started. And give it call to Sam Denota as well in the 77. He's the one we haven't mentioned yet today in that Frontier Airlines Toyota. In this race last year, he went tumbling end over end at least 25 times and he was sidelined for 2 races after that, and that pretty much ended his season before it really got started. But he's back he's back. He's ready. He's racing. He's in the top 5. He has a shot to win the 500.
Boy, would that be quite the redemption from last year's season opener mayhem. To be able to win the race and then be able to go home with a trophy and go through the rest of the season knowing that no matter what happens the rest of the year, you won the Daytona 500. That's exactly what all 5 of these drivers here, and perhaps even more if they can catch back up, will want to be able to say.
Yeah, it looks like Reed and Lawson got picked up by Anzac and Sanders. You see those 4 in the back, and it looks like there's about 6 cars behind them that are going to catch up to them. They're going to form about 10 cars in a group together. We'll see if those 10 can catch up to these 5 at the front. You see Lane Sanders now leading that second group of 4, and then William Brock's back here with these guys. So Brock is in a very dangerous position. He might not be able to win the Daytona 500 despite his dominating performance in the early stages.
Yeah, and you see Bubba Jones there behind him, along with a few other drivers that I know they want to win, but if they can catch up to Sanders and company there in that little group of 4, they could at least improve their fortunes a bit and maybe finish as high as 6th, pending another thing that'll catch them back up to the top 5.
And I just don't know if they're going to be able to catch these 5 because they've been running for the most part single file, and that's how you want to do things here at Daytona. Look at them. They're back in single file formation. That's exactly what you want to do at Daytona to keep position, although Sam Donato doesn't really want to play the waiting game much longer. He wants to get around Dylan Young. He's might be getting a push from McDonald, but now McDonald, no, he's gonna, nope. I keep correcting myself because Ben McDonald's doing the exact opposite of what I think he's going to do. And McDonald now gets underneath Donato for the 4th spot. And you can see in the second pack, those 4 have been caught by the 6 behind them. And now they're all going to try and chase down these 5.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing right now. Even being side by side as some of the leaders up ahead shuffle around, will that be enough to slow them down to get caught? Right now, it doesn't look like it, but we'll have to wait and see as they're now single file once again.
Yeah, keep note of that time difference. They're about 4 seconds off the lead, and if these guys start getting side by side with each other and 3 wide and all that good stuff, like Sam Donato's trying to do, but he tucks back in line behind Dylan Young. These 5, if they get to racing each other, those 10 cars, if they stay in double file formation, they may be able to chase them down.
Yeah, but that's going to take a lot of work. As you can see the huge gap. The top 5 just got it going into the travel. The other 10 just coming out of turn 4. And now here we go. Patrick Smith doing what you thought Donato was going to do earlier.
And they lost, that second group lost 2/10 on that lap, so they are not gaining time on these guys, despite them racing for 2 and 3 wide with each other. I thought 10 cars would be stronger than 5, but these cars must be very strong together to be able to hang on to this lead. 3 of whom have been out in front so far, and Dylan Young starting to stretch his legs out front. Could he be the next rookie to win the 500?
Boy, would that be something for him to do. I mean, every rookie wants to do that and say they won the Daytona 500 their first try. And unlike some others who may want to say that they've been trying for years. I know it hasn't been that long, but we don't want people coming along in their career and saying it's been ages since I even had a shot and then finally win it. We're looking at a chance for someone to get a first-time win right away.
Remember, Dylan Young did run this race last year, too, but he did not finish as high as he's running right now. This would be a career day for Dylan Young if he can even finish in this top 5 even. But I'm sure the Venta Motorsports teammates are still at the front, McMillan and McDonald, and they've got a good friend with them in Sam Donato as well. Those 3 might try and work together to overhaul Smith and Young and make this a 3-car battle for the win. Time will tell. We now have 15 laps to go in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, 15 to go, and it's a 5-man battle right now because I'm not seeing that although looks like Reed gained a little bit there, he's now with a little bit less than 4 seconds back, but still a long way to go to catch them.
Yeah, you can barely see him on the right-hand side of your screen. It's going to be pretty difficult for them to gain, but Patrick Smith he desperately wants to lead a lap in this race, pick up that bonus point, because every point matters here. Patrick Smith is dying for a bonus point. He's still yet to lead today. Could this be the lap right here?
And we're watching. Young's got the momentum. I don't know. He might. No, he's not gonna. He's gotta be saying, what do I gotta do to just lead a single lap here?
Oh, but yeah, looking back at this second pack, Anderson Reed gained a little more time. They may want to keep this 15 car out in the lead. He might be the fastest one of these guys so far, as this pack consists of guys like Bobo Jones, Daniel Voiles, Eric Monaco, the pole sitter, Miles Mashburn, and a few others. But I don't know, and you can see the third pack even further behind them. They're about 10 seconds off the lead. So these five continue to dice it up for the lead, a lot of other drivers are seeing their hopes for a 500 win start to falter.
Yeah, as the laps get counted down, they hear their spotters counting down. Right now we're looking at 13 to go. It's getting down to desperation to do something to be able to catch these guys.
And now Stephen Gale pips the fastest lap off the two battling for it in Zhao and Fitzwater. So Stephen Gale now holds that bonus point. We'll see if he can keep it for the rest of the day. But we do have some lap traffic that might be a factor. JQ Halleck and KJ Hayes in the 46. They're running by themselves. They're running in sort of a draft together. They're about a second off the lead, or about a second a lap slower, I should say. Maybe a little less. I don't know if they're going to catch them in time, though. There's only 12 laps to go at this race.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Halleck because and we remember they won the duel, and now to be in that position, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, that Revolution Racing team, it keeps getting snake bit, like Halleck says. If we didn't have bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck at all. But they're another team that'll try and regroup at Auto Club Speedway next week and hope for something better there. But here comes Jake McMillan coming to 11 laps to go, with Dylan Young right behind. And then, even further back, the squabbling pair of McDonald and Donato, Patrick Smith even further back. You see that second pack, they're closing it up to 3.5 seconds. I don't know if they're going to catch him in time now.
No, then they've lost time there. They just lost 2/10. I just watched the ticker change, and yeah, pending like a caution, like in the next 2 or 3 laps to keep the race from ending under yellow, there's no shot for them. It's just these 5 right here.
And I know it's a bit anticlimactic only having 5 cars in the battle for the win of the Daytona 500, but these are some of the strongest cars we've had today, and any one of them would deserve a win here in the Great American Race. But you gotta feel for guys like William Brock back there. He led 17 laps in the early stages, but his hopes of winning the 500 may be over as we now have 10 laps to go.
And this is going to be hard for everyone back there who was in contention up until these pit stops, and of course you throw in the issues with Bouchard and others that really mess things up. So yeah, this is going to be a hard one to move on from, but you're going to have to move on and get ready for Auto Club after today, no matter what happens.
And McMillan's getting a massive lead out front. Look at the gap he's pulled to Donato and Smith behind him. These 4 may try and chase down the 21, shuffle him out, and make it one less car, although McDonald will probably want to keep the 21 in sight for a drafting partner. My goodness, 9 laps to go, and McMillan's got a quarter-second lead at Daytona. That is not always a good thing.
No, it's not, because especially in the cases like when you have a big pack like we had early on, you get too far to lead, too big a lead, you can get shuffled out real quick, but not so much here as we see Donato catching up to him.
Yeah, these two, they know each other very well. They know each other's driving styles, but I'm sure there's nothing that can be said or done between these two that will stop them from going no holds barred for a win in the 500. We're coming down to the close now. We've got single-digit laps remaining, and it's just going to be an all-out brawl now for the rest of this race. McMillan holds the lead. Can he keep it?
Yeah, he's going to try, but, Denoto, he'd be happy with second place, I'm sure, but he'd be even happier to be able to hoist that trophy. So I wouldn't put it past him to try something. And you can see the 04 with Patrick Smith there. He's got a nice little draft off that 77. He might have something to say here.
Yeah, there's Patrick Smith in the 04. He has done everything right except get to the front. He's doing absolutely everything he needs to do, and he gets underneath Sam Denoto now. Could Smith be the biggest challenger to Jake McMillan by the end of this race? We're coming to 7 laps to go, and there's still 5 cars in the mix for the win.
Yeah, 5 cars in the mix, but it's looking like we might start to lose one of them there with the 12. But he could still hang on as these guys keep fighting side by side, but his chances of winning could be over if he doesn't get caught back up.
Looks like he is getting caught back up, though. That huge hole in the air being punched by the 04 to 77 and the 29. Look at that. McDonald's right back in the hunt.
There we go.
So, we still have 5 cars in the mix. 2 Chevys, a Ford, a Dodge, and a Toyota. I love having all 4 manufacturers in the bid for the win. This is exactly what we want to see, this diversity and parity in this series. But we're coming to 6 laps to go. Jake McMillan's got the upper hand, and Heguo Zhao set an absolute flyer of a lap, a 45.80. That easily puts him on the fast track to fastest lap, pipping Stephen Gale for that point. And although Zhao doesn't really need this point because he's not racing for the championship here, I'm sure it'll be a very nice accolade to add to his weekend.
Yeah, but at the same time, what good is a fastest lap record for the race if you're stuck way back in the field because of a mixture of things that worked against you, as Patrick Smith still trying to find a way to get up there.
We're coming to 5 laps to go in the Daytona 500. This has been an absolute thrill ride from start to finish. Jake McMillan looks like he's got the legs out on everybody behind him, but these final 5 laps could decide a lot as we close in on the end of this race.
Yeah, it certainly could, but yeah, he's getting out there a little ways, and while he's able to hold his own for the time being, as we look at the 46 and the 4 again, we could see him get overtaken.
I don't think they're going to catch the 4 and the 46, though. I think it's going to just come down to a flat-out battle between these 5, because they need to gain a lot more time than they actually are. So at this point, I think it's going to be a battle between McMillan, Denoto, and maybe Patrick Smith. I don't think McDonald and Young have enough time to get up there. I could be proven wrong, but we're only gonna have 4 laps for them to settle this out.
And it's looking, like I said, a little bit tough for the idea of McDonald or Young to get it, but we'll see. Right now, it's definitely going to be good with McMillan and Denoto up front.
4 laps to go in the Great American Race, and McMillan and Denoto putting on an absolute show. Here comes Denoto to the inside. He's got no drafting help, but neither does the 21. This could be the break the 77 was looking for. Down the back straightaway they go. Now Denoto gets a push from Patrick Smith, but he drifts up high to help the 21. That allows McMillan to clear Denoto as they go into 3.
It looked like for a second there, Smith was going to try to find a way to make it 3 wide, but thought better of it, and we see the product of his decision to think smart.
Yeah, better to save the race car and come home 3rd than to wreck out trying to go for the win. We now have 3 laps to go, only 7.5 miles to decide the outcome of the Daytona 500.
Here comes Young, or maybe.
That Dylan Young's getting a big push from Ben McDonald. The question is now, can he get there? Because I don't think McDonald's going to want to push the 29 past the 21 considering they're teammates. So McDonald might push the 29 for as long as it's beneficial to him and then duck out at the last minute.
Yeah, it might be, but you see Patrick Smith, he's trying to make it 3 wide. Oh, that's getting dicey.
We are coming to 2 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Jake McMillan has had the advantage for the majority of this second stint. We'll see if he can hang on to the win. We only have 5 more miles to go to decide a winner of the Daytona 500. Jake McMillan doing absolutely everything he can, but Dylan Young, Ben McDonald, Patrick Smith, and Sam Denota, they're all battling hard to try and get this win. Bobo Jones in the second pack, they're starting to gain ground, but it's far too late for them now, unless all these 5 wreck out together. So it's going to come down to these 5 cars battling it out for victory. We're coming to the white flag this time.
Yeah, we're definitely past the point of no return if the caution comes out. So, and I don't think McMillan would have a problem seeing that caution flag wave, but I think he would also rather do what he's doing now, hold off his competitors for the win.
White flag is in the air. We've got 1 lap to go in the Daytona 500. Jake McMillan now doing absolutely everything he can to hold on to this lead and to this win as they dive it off into turn 1 for the first time.
Yeah, I don't think Patrick Smith is going to have much to do, as Young is now getting shuffled out by McMillan's teammate here. So it's looking like we could have a 1-2 here for McDonald and McMillan, if only he can get some help there in the 12.
Down the backstretch they go. Jake McMillan, his last oval win came 4 years ago at Charlotte for his first career win. His other 3 have all been on the road courses. This is going to be the biggest win of Jake McMillan's career. Off of turn 4 for the final time, his oval streak has come to an end, and Jake McMillan wins the Daytona 500 in the last gasp duel between he and Dylan Young for that final gasp of glory. Jake McMillan's done it. He is your winner of the Daytona 500. Dylan Young comes home second, agonizingly close to a win, but he'll gladly take it, I'm sure. Ben McDonald makes it 2 Venta Motorsport cars on the podium here at Daytona. McDonald comes home third. Patrick Smith, after such a long day for him, he comes home 4th in the end. Sam Denota runs out the top 5. What a run for him. But in the second pack, Bobo Jones comes home 6th, making it 2 monster cars in the top 10. Daniel Voiles, a great run for Team Dayspring in 7th. Roberto Crown Jr., we didn't mention him all day. He comes home 8th ahead of pole sitter Eric Monaco. And William Brock, after such a strong car in the opening stages, he runs out the top 10. This has just been an absolutely glorious day at Daytona, and for no one more so than Jake McMillan. And as he pulls into the pits with his teammate right behind him, this is by far the biggest win he'll ever have in his career.
Absolutely. This is going to be talked about for a long time for him. He's happy with it. I shouldn't just say happy. He's probably bursting with excitement at this happening, and that whole organization is going to be celebrating this one for a while.
So that does it from Daytona. Jake McMillan pulls off the big win, the biggest of his career. But don't forget, this is just the first of 30 races this season, and we're going to be bringing them all to you live this time every week. So from James Ellison, and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the World Center of Racing. The Daytona 500 is complete. We'll see you again next week at Auto Club Speedway, where we get to do this all over again, where Jake McMillan will have the absolute biggest momentum of anybody out there. He is the winner of the 4th annual Daytona 500.